Guys, welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. It's about 10:30 on the 28th, Thursday, the 28th of September, and I am currently driving from Jackson, Wyoming to Carbondale, Colorado, and I got a couple questions in. One question I want to address on this episode, and that is a question of I've got an early rifle tag. How do I know what kind of bull to shoot? And more of the, I'm kind of paraphrasing the question. Been doing a lot of scouting. How do I know which bulls got shot on the archery hunt? How do I know what to hold out for? What about broken points? When do I know if a bull is a shooter or not? And so I'm going to try and address that question as we drive here. I'm going across out of Pinedale, Wyoming, just going across these beautiful antelope prairies towards Rock Springs. Okay, so today is the end of the Arizona archery elk season, and from what I can tell, it's been a pretty interesting season. Some people have been reporting that that dark moon, that the elk maybe weren't as into the rut or into congregating with each other as normal, and some people were reporting a little bit slow bugling. I had other people reporting that, first 3 or 4 days really hardcore bugling and then a lull, which, we've talked about that lull before when the pressure hits. But today I kind of want to focus on the question at hand, and that is how to handle these early rifle hunts, specifically in Arizona. And for you listeners out there that are, listening and have hunts in other states, I'm sure you can take some of what I say and extrapolate that towards the state that you're hunting. So the early rifle or the muzzleloader hunts start the day after the archery season in Arizona ends. And one of the biggest challenges in all the times that I've hunted both the archery and the early rifle is trying to keep track of bulls through the archery season and always worrying about bulls breaking their antlers, because in Arizona the bulls tend to fight pretty good, pretty hard, have pretty high bull to cow ratios, and so there's a lot of competition for those cows, and so you get a lot of bulls broken up. One thing I can tell you is sometimes you have to realign your expectations or readjust your expectations when it comes to trophy quality on these early rifle hunts, because almost always some of the biggest bulls in your unit typically have broken points. So the first thing you have to decide is, am I willing to shoot a bull with a broken point? What is most important to me? Most people that put in and apply for these early rifle hunts and then get drawn for these early rifle hunts have very high expectations of, their one chance to shoot a really good trophy bull. Whereas sometimes I would argue that the archery hunt, even though you're limited by the capability of your weapon, your bow in this case, you can't shoot as far and shoot as many rounds as say you could through a rifle. One of the benefits of an archery hunt is the fact that you get first crack at them. The season dates in Arizona are 2 weeks long during the archery hunt, and the early rifle hunts are typically a 7-day season. So, broken points is definitely something that you have to consider. And I would tell you that if you're really focused on, this particular hunt being your, one chance to really kill a trophy bull, you have to really, really be careful and glass very, very hard and try and differentiate which bulls are broken and which bulls aren't. Then you have to decide, is it worth shooting a 360, 370 bull, but he's got a broken eye guard, or, a fourth point that's broken off, or a main beam after his fifth point that's busted, or what have you. And some of these bulls, and especially some of the big bulls, will have multiple points broken on their racks. So before you get to your hunt, you kind of have to decide, am I going to shoot a broken bull? Do I want my taxidermist to just patch the bull? And it's still a fantastic set of antlers. And sometimes I know people pass quote unquote bigger bulls or bigger racked bulls to shoot something that's not broke, when in reality, they could get the antler patched, and taxidermist does a fine job at that, and it's still a 370 bull. If you're going for ultimate net score, you've got to really, really watch those broken points. And so just be real careful. Look at every point before you shoot and make sure it's exactly the bull you want. Now, I want to talk a little bit about strategy as far as not having, if you've done literally no scouting, then I think it's a little presumptuous to have expectations, trophy expectations that are out of line. And I think Arizona specifically gets a lot of publicity for really big bulls, which we do have, and really high quality elk hunting. But I think you have to keep those expectations in check, or else it can create a situation where you don't enjoy the hunt as much, because in essence you've seen 30 bulls in the 330 to 340 range, but you haven't found that bull over 350. Or in some units, you've found bulls in that 340, 350, 360 range, but you can't find that bull over 370, into the 380s or better. So, ultimately you have to decide, how are you setting up this hunt as far as your expectations for trophy quality. If you've done a ton of scouting, you've done a ton of homework, you're putting in a bunch of time, you have the whole hunt off, then I think you have a little bit more opportunity to be more selective. And potentially if you're dialed in and you have 2 or 3 big bulls picked out, you can monitor those bulls and watch those bulls, and you have a really good chance to shoot a really trophy bull. If you've been working and just haven't had the time off, I think sometimes you got to really look hard at those solid 340, 350 bulls in most of these elk units in Arizona, especially if they're intact and not broke, because by the time the archery hunt, people have funneled through those units and shot bulls, wounded bulls, what have you. They have taken some of the cream off the top. Just adjust your outlook and your expectations on the hunt based upon, A, how much time you have, B, what you're seeing in the field. And then there's a whole nother part of it that, if you want to be, an ultimate selective or trophy hunter, that you just decide that, hey, I've shot a 360 bull and I'm looking for something that's bigger than that 360 bull, or I'm looking for something with big backs or big fronts, or drop down brow tines that curl forward in the front, or big thirds, or whatever it may be. And then you just go about the 7 days and just enjoy yourself, take inventory of bulls, and maybe you go the whole hunt and you don't shoot something. If you can't shoot a giant, or you can't shoot what you're after if on the first, second, or third day you give in and shoot something that you don't want. You are ultimately in charge of what you pull the trigger on. I know so many people that end their hunt on the first day and they kick themselves for not hunting it out and trying to find a better bull. On the other hand, I know some people that pass a bull on the first day or the first morning, that by the time the 6th or 7th day rolls around, they're kicking themselves for not shooting that bull. So you kind of have to, be a little bit self-aware of what your expectations are, and, how you want your hunt to go down, and, enjoy it. That's one thing that I think gets lost, is people put so much pressure on themselves to perform or to try and pull something out of the unit that's not there, and it turns into a bad experience. I would say enjoy everything about the hunt. Typically the bulls are bugling really well. Typically you'll hear a lot of fighting, lots of competition for breeding those cows, and it's just a phenomenal time to be in the woods. So I hope that answers some of the question that I got. I got multiple questions, so I'm trying to kind of piece them together. But I wish you guys the best of success out there on those early rifle hunts that start tomorrow, and just be aware of how you want the hunt to go down, and envision and picture in your mind, visualize what you want to happen, and see it through, and don't do anything in the hunt that you don't want to do. Do exactly how you want to proceed. Take your strategy, take your method of how you're going to make the hunt go down. You've already thought about all of the things in your brain, and you've pictured how you want the hunt to go. So there's no reason that you shouldn't just follow that script, and just enjoy yourself, and try and shoot the best bulls you can, and enjoy yourself, and send me a picture. I'd like to hear from you guys. I want to thank you guys for your support of this podcast. If you want to send me an email, you can at jscottoutdoors@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at jscottoutdoors. You can send me a direct message there. And I love seeing trophy photos from you guys. I love hearing from you guys. I'm trying to provide value from years of experience of guiding, and I'm learning stuff every day. So I'm going to continue to try and pass this stuff along to you. And I just really appreciate your support, and appreciate the sponsor support. Go Hunt Insider, that's doing a 30-day free trial. Kuiu Ultralight Hunting, Phoneskope.com, Outdoorsmans.com. You check the show notes in this podcast. You can see the different promo codes and discounts that you can get with these companies. Guys, thanks.